Welcome back to Meet the Coach. I'm Pat Curran, one of the co-founders here at our coaching network. Today, I've got Artie Allen. He is the assistant coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterbacks coach at Chaffey College. Artie, welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pat. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Talk to us first about how you got to Chaffey and a little bit about the journey from being a player to now being in this coach world.
Yeah, so I played at Chaffey, so that's kind of where I started in regards to being a Panther. But prior to that, I played high school ball in San Bernardino, Rialto area, it's an Inland Empire area, which is about an hour east of LA. And I actually didn't play any youth ball. I didn't do anything like that. My first time ever playing football was 10th grade, and so it was one of those things where I always tell this story, but my uncle, a lot of my family, were into basketball. So I played basketball ever since I was younger. My uncle had like traveling teams and things like that. And, he reached a point one day and he had a conversation and he's like, "Hey man, I don't think you're going to be very tall. And so I think you should try football," and it was kind of like a wake up call for me. And I went out for the team and I made it and scored a touchdown on my first game. And I was like, "Oh, this is pretty fun,"
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some crossover with basketball and playing receiver and things like that. So it's just one of those things I just kind of gravitated towards. Played high school ball at Rialto and Bloomington, and then I ended up going to Chaffey, and that's where I met our current head coach right now. And he was someone that I respected. He was actually on the defensive side of the ball, and I played offense. But just being around success, and we were very successful. There's a lot of people that I knew there. It was just, JUCO football in California is a family type of atmosphere. It's a little different than the national JUCOs where you got guys coming from all over the country. Everyone that played there was pretty much from the Inland Empire area, and so, I was able to get a scholarship. I played Division II football at New Mexico Highlands, which I eventually coached there as well. It's kind of a theme right now. Places I played, I coached at. But I always kept in contact with the staff there. At the time I played, our current head coach was the defensive coordinator, and I eventually got to the point where I was coaching 4-year ball. I went back to Highlands first as and this is an interesting story. I actually was just trying to finish up my degree. When I finished playing there, I had not finished my degree at that point. Being a young person that, really didn't value education the way I should have, honestly. And a lot of the community college or JUCO athletes, kind of have that mentality and they have to be developed. And so that's kind of my job now, is trying to develop those guys into that. But, I came back home. There was some, things my mom needed help with back home and stuff like that. And so I didn't finish after I played. And a couple years later, I'm like, I don't want to, go to the working world. I don't want to be, a realtor. That's kind of what I was doing, is kind of, in the real estate world. And it just wasn't for me. I wanted to get back to ball. And so I was beating down the door, as you say, to try to get back to Highlands. And I knew they didn't have a receiver coach because I knew someone that was kind of GA in there. And I would communicate with him. And the head coach really wouldn't answer my phone calls a whole lot. I think he responded once. And
was he your head guy when you were there?
He was the head guy for my first semester there.
Okay.
So, I just showed up. I'm like, hey, I know my way around town. I'm going to finish school. I got to go to finish school. This is the fastest way for me to get my degree. And I just showed up. I was like, hey, I work for free. I'll find a place to stay. And so I was the volunteer receiver coach starting off. Fast forward, 4 games into the year, they hadn't been very good. 4 games into the year, the head coach doesn't show up on Sunday after week 3 game.
Oh.
Doesn't show up on Monday, doesn't show up on Tuesday. And, I'm just a young guy that doesn't really know a whole lot. But one of my best friends, one of my good friends now, was the D-line coach who transitioned into the defensive coordinator. And then after that week 3 game, became the interim head coach. And so it was a whirlwind of like, what the heck is going on here? The head coach's brother was also the O-line coach. And so they were both gone. And so on offense, it was me,
What
It
happened?
was, yeah, he. I mean, I haven't talked to him still to this day, but the AD came in on Tuesday and said, coach is done. And
What was he fired after the game Saturday, or he just was like, I'm
he
out of
wasn't
here, I'm
he
leaving?
wasn't fired. I think he saw the writing on the wall. He was probably going to be, and
Okay.
he just disappeared. It's one of the weirdest things.
Yeah.
But that's where I met, some good people. Coach Morris brought in Coach Thomas. Coach Morris is currently at SMU, sorry, he's at Sam Houston
Hmm.
as the D-line coach. And so he's, again, a good friend of mine. Thomas Rocco is someone that was brought onto that staff as well. And he's currently the head coach at Tyler Community College. And Coach Morris also brought back really all three of our mentors is Ed Riffalotto. He's currently the defensive coordinator at Fort Lewis, D2. But he's been around, he's been at the Division I level. And, he's someone that really taught me, how to coach really, as a young person, and taught me how to work. And so, those three guys were kind of people I gravitated towards. And, they were all defensive guys, and I was on the offensive side of the ball. But, you can look here and you can look there and you can realize that that's the way to do it, and that's not the way to do it. And that's kind of, what ended up happening. And so, halfway through the season, I'm calling the offense, in my first ever college coaching job, so there's been some situations like that throughout my career where I was just kind of thrusted into something I wasn't ready for, and it just kind of helped me advance, and so new staff comes in at Highlands. I stay on. I kind of get demoted to a GA on defense, which I think was awesome for me because, I was able to kind of show me like, hey, you need to get better. The head coach there, Eric Young, he brought in some people that he knew. And then I met more people that I ended up being able to build more relationships with. Actually, the new receiver coach that came in is my best friend. Honestly, he's one of my best friends. He's currently at College of the Sequoias as the head track coach and receiver coach. His name is Kenny Jackson. But, I just was able to get involved with actually National Football Academies, which is Darren Slack, Dub Maddox, Will Hewlett, J.C. Boyce, just a lot of different quarterback, really geniuses, quite honestly, that I was able to just be around through Kenny because, they brought me in to help out with the camps and coach receivers. And so, I would say that's how I developed as a quarterback coach, was being around those people and then really just kind of learning on my own and taking some initiative, to learn. And so I know I'm kind of getting into my whole story here, and I don't want it to be too lengthy, but, I think it's important to talk about because, I think sometimes coaches thinks that, you're just going to make it happen and it's just going to be easy for you. And, there were some times where I didn't make a whole lot of money, or none at all. And, had to continue to develop and get to the point, where I am now.
Yeah, I get that. I've made literally $0 one time. My first coaching gig was $0. Then I was a GA, made $6,000 a year.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad. I was able to live and buy a
Yeah.
few things here and there. So I totally get that. What advice would you give to young Artie Allen that you wish you knew now? That you know now that you wish you knew then, obviously.
That I wish I knew then.
That I wish you knew then.
Learn how to seek out relationships. I was one of those people that was maybe a little, I don't want to say standoffish, but I didn't, prideful, and thinking that I knew more than I did. And, there were probably more relationships that could have been built if I was more outgoing, more open, and, really, sought out those relationships, so I would think that's number one, is to seek those opportunities, and after that, I would say, make sure that you're constantly learning. I think that, there's different opportunities now than there were then, obviously with internet and things. There was internet, but it would,
This thing now, Zoom and
yeah, but
Twitter.
back then I could have found more ways to connect, and to learn. And so,
Sure.
I would say those two things.
Sure. What do you think's the biggest thing that you do now that's different than other coaches, whether it's philosophy or how you do practice or the RPO game, or what do you think? Because you've been super successful where you are. You guys are putting up a gazillion points, and I remember you did the clinic talk. Phenomenal. Anyone watching this who hasn't watched it yet, go back on our coaching network and watch his RPO clinic. But you guys have put up some big time numbers and been successful. What do you think makes you different in all this?
Yeah, so I think that, first of all, the love that we have for our players is one of the best things. When players know that you care about them, they're going to do whatever. They're going to run through a wall for you, and that's genuine. And I was a junior college athlete, and I've been through a lot of what our players have gone through, and so that's number one. That's cliche, but it's the truth.
Sure.
The next thing I would say is that another cliche thing is people say that, or coaches say that they create game-like environments during practice. And I think we do a really good job of, having some type of decision for every drill that we have, some type of distraction for every drill and some type of pressure, right? And I can speak to it from the quarterback standpoint, but I try to do a good job of challenging the coaches on offense to do that with the receivers, do that with the running backs, do that with the O-line. Because, you can go through, here's some bag drills, here's some footwork drills, here's drops, here's a route and run it. But if you don't give them the actual scenario or give them the actual environment, of the game, then you're not doing your players justice. If they're going to intake the play from a signal, don't yell it to them, right? Signal it to them, constantly, and I think we do that regularly to the point where our guy that signals is, he gets tired of it at times. But I mean, we have to prepare our players. We're not just going to take drops as quarterbacks. We're going to give him an actual play, a scenario as we're working on those drops. And there's going to be a decision for him to make. And this could be drills that are full speed or drills that are teach tempo or whatever the case may be. We're going to create, we're constantly working on trying to create an environment of pressure, an environment of a decision every single time, and some type of distraction.
It makes a lot of sense. I like that. I'll get you out on this one, last one, because I don't want to take too much of your time here. Mm-hmm. But I like that. This is always my favorite question to see where coaches take this one. But one coach that you've never worked with, you'd love to work with in the future. And that could be somebody you want to hire or somebody you want to hire you, or somewhere down the line you want to work with this coach, and why?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. And so the one coach I would say right now that I'd love to work for, Herm Edwards.
Okay. Why?
Herm Edwards to me is someone that loves everyone around him. When I hear him speak, when I hear him talk about his program, when I hear him talk about the development of coaches, he just seems like someone that's going to help you get better, and it's not for him just what you can do for him. It's also what he can do for you. And that's not just the players. I've heard him speak multiple times. I've been lucky enough to be on some different Zoom sessions, and, his path, the things that he went through. If you take a look at his story from a young person all the way to now, him coaching at the NFL level and then also at the college level. And, he just seems like a genuine person that is going to help you develop as a coach, hold you accountable, and, help you improve.